this is Minu at AnglerLink. Today I'd like to revise question tags with you. Now, in an earlier video we looked at how to formulate questions. If you haven't seen that video, I'd recommend that you go and watch that first and then come back to this one. Question tags can replace simple yes-no questions, but they can also reinforce a statement that you've just made and get the listener to agree with you. By the end of this video, you will have a clear idea of how to formulate question tags and how to use them. So when you're ready, we can begin.
Question tags. Let's see what a question tag is. A question tag is a short question added to the end of a statement, and it changes it into a yes-no question. For example, it's lunchtime, isn't it? It isn't raining, is it? Notice that when the statement is positive, the tag is negative, and when the statement is negative, the tag is positive. Also notice that the negative tag is in contracted form, isn't it? It's possible to use the full form, is it not, but you will sound too formal, so keep it to the contraction. Now, like ordinary complete questions, question tags are formed with the right auxiliary. So it's important to review the auxiliaries for each type of statement. Let's do that now. So let's look at the formulation of question tags for statements where you can see the auxiliary in the positive statement. The first group is the verb to be and the present and past continuous tenses. She's working, isn't she? Or the negative statement, she isn't working, is she? We're late, aren't we? We aren't late, are we? He was angry, wasn't he? He wasn't angry, was he? And the last example in this group, they were lying, weren't they? They weren't lying, were they? The next group, where you can see the auxiliary in the statement, is sentences with will and modal verbs. For example, you'll be there, won't you? Or, if the sentence is negative, you won't be there, will you? Let's look at some modals. I can go, can't I? I can't go, can I? It could happen, couldn't it? It couldn't happen, could it? We should stay, shouldn't we? We shouldn't stay, should we? He must exercise, mustn't he? He mustn't exercise, must he? The next group where we can see the auxiliary in the statement is the present and past perfect tenses. Let's have a look at the examples. They've finished, haven't they? Or in the negative statement, they haven't finished, have they? She's done it, hasn't she? She hasn't done it, has she? You'd seen him, hadn't you? You hadn't seen him, had you? Right. Now, let's have a look at statements where you cannot see the auxiliary in the positive statement. This includes sentences in the present and past simple tenses. They live in Spain, don't they? They don't live in Spain, do they? She always smiles, doesn't she? She never smiles, does she? Notice that the word never creates a negative sentence and therefore requires a positive tag. And the last sentence in the past simple tense, it snowed, didn't it? It didn't snow, did it? Now, one verb to be careful of is the verb to have, and of course, to have to show an obligation. You can use these verbs on their own, or you can add the word got to them. If you use them on their own, you need to bring the auxiliary to make your tag. Let's have a look. They have a car, don't they? In the negative, you can already see the auxiliary. They don't have a car, do they? Now, if you use the word get or got with these expressions, you end up with a sentence like this. They've got a car, and this time you can use the word have as your auxiliary. They've got a car, haven't they? They haven't got a car, have they? Let's look at the example with the verb to have to show an obligation. You can say, he has to work, doesn't he? Or, he doesn't have to work, does he? If you add the word got into the sentence and say, he's got to work, then the tag becomes hasn't he? Or in the negative, he hasn't got to work, has he? There are 3 special tags we should look at before we finish with formulation. The first one is the tag that follows the expression let's. When you make a suggestion with let's, if you want to add a tag, use shall we. Let's begin, shall we? Even if your sentence is negative, the tag remains shall we. Let's not rush, shall we? The next special tag is a tag after giving an order or making a request. For example, you could say, do me a favor, or do me a favor please. The tag to follow is, will you? Even if your sentence is negative, like, don't forget the letter, or don't forget the letter please, the tag is again, will you? And the final special tag you need to be aware of is the tag that we use with the verb to be, with the pronoun I, when the sentence is positive. Because as you know, the verb am does not have a negative contraction. So we use aren't I? I'm right, aren't I? You can use the full form, but it will be too formal, as I've mentioned before. I'm right, am I not? For the negative statement, the tag is am I, as you would expect. I'm not right, am I? Well, that's all for formulation. We can now move on to usage. As I said, the first usage of a question tag is to formulate a simple yes-no question, but in this case, you have to use a rising intonation. Let's look at some examples. You haven't seen my key, have you? It's the same as saying, have you seen my key? You expect either a yes or a no answer. No, I haven't. Or, yes, I have. It's over there. Let's look at another example. She's coming, isn't she? Is the same as asking a question. Is she coming? Again, you expect either a yes or a no answer. Yes, she is. Or no, she isn't. Let's look at the third example. He works in a hospital, doesn't he? Is the same as asking, does he work in a hospital? You would expect a yes, he does, or a no, he doesn't. Now, the second usage of a question tag is to reinforce a statement you have made and get agreement from your listener. In this case, you need to use a falling intonation. Let's look at some examples. You haven't slept very well, have you? No, I had a terrible night last night. Another example. She's really friendly, isn't she? Yes, she's so nice to everyone. Another example. He drives too fast, doesn't he? Yes, he's a dangerous driver. Right then, let's have a look at common mistakes. The most common mistake is using a simple no or isn't it as a general tag for all kinds of statements. This is possible in some languages, but in English you need to formulate the correct tag. Let's have a look. You might hear, it's cold, no? The correct tag is, it's cold, isn't it? You have a car, isn't it? The correct tag is, you have a car, don't you? Another common mistake is using a positive tag after a positive sentence and a negative tag after a negative sentence. For example, they haven't arrived, haven't they? As you have now learned, because the sentence is negative, the tag has to be positive. They haven't arrived, have they? Or, we never go out, don't we? Now remember that never creates a negative statement. Therefore, the tag has to be positive. We never go out, do we? And the final example, he knows his subject, does he? He knows is positive, so your tag has to be negative. He knows his subject, doesn't he? Now, one important thing to be aware of is that it's possible to use a positive tag after a positive sentence in very specific cases, because a positive tag after a positive sentence, spoken with a specific intonation, can indicate a strong emotion or a strong message, such as anger or sarcasm. For example, if we take the last sentence that we corrected, he knows his subject, does he, and we corrected it to he knows his subject, doesn't he? If we say it like, he knows his subject, does he? It's sarcasm. You really don't believe that he does. Let's take another example. They want to fire me, do they? When the speaker says it in this way, it means that he or she is very angry. Now, as these are very specific usages, I wouldn't recommend you have a go Just be aware of their existence. Well, that's the end of this video. As you know, you can go to our website, anglolink.com, to review question tags and do exercises to reinforce them. Also, please remember to rate our videos, comment on them, and subscribe so you can get updates on all our new videos. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye now.